right, so here's Trader Trump in Long Island talking to a bunch of assholes who should be ashamed of themselves. But if they had shame, if they possess the ability to feel shame, they wouldn't be Trump supporters to begin with. So, there's that. All right. What the hell? I hit the wrong. What is it? Oh, that's. You know what? I didn't do that. My iPhone took over my eCam. Has that ever happened to you? Don't you hate when that happens, when your iPhone takes over your eCam?
I will cut taxes for families, small businesses, and workers, including restoring the SALT deduction, saving thousands of dollars for residents of New York,
yay, motherfucker, yay,
New Jersey, and other high-cost states.
Hey, bitch, you know who ended the SALT fucking deduction? Trader Trump. Look at these assholes behind him. In his tax scam, he did away with that's how they have to get the money from somewhere. If you're going to rob the poor and give to the rich, rob working people and give to people who sit on their fat asses at the golf course. They can't even get up out of their fucking golf cart because they look like shit and they have shitty diets. Right? I mean, that's if you are padding if you're giving people money, more money than they'll ever spend in a million lifetimes, giving them more than, a free ride off our backs, like the parasites that they are. It's got to come from somewhere because no matter what, I know that Republicans hate government like crooks hate cops, but there has to be infrastructure. This is what I can't take these Republicans, I wish they would simply go to the woods. Go into the woods with your con man and your stupid libertarian ideas. You're talking about freedom. You know nothing of freedom. You know oppression.
SALT deduction, saving thousands of dollars for residents of New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and other high-cost
states. Look at these assholes. Look at these assholes. And you know why they did it? Because the SALT deduction, generally, for the most part, went to was benefited. The people in blue states benefited from this SALT tax deduction. And because, you're not writing off the property taxes in your fucking meth lab in Tennessee. You have a nice little house in Long Island. So they did it specifically, and this is how he is. This is what he is, targeting other parts of the country that didn't vote for him. But there he is in Long Island, telling these idiots, I'm going to give you back what I took away. And they're all cheering as if he's got, as if this is real, as if he's got a fucking clue and is a serious person. He's not a serious person. He's a clown. He's a con man, a grifter. And it will never stop. This entire enterprise that he's engaged in the destruction of America, is a grift in itself. He got the best grift. He tried all the other grifts, the fake university, the multi-level marketing vitamin scam, the water, the game, the casinos that he bankrupted, the Trump, did I say the game? Everything, the books, the thing, everything that other people did better. That's the thing about him, too. He's not very original. He's not clever. Of course he's not. Who bankrupts a casino? For real. He went to Wharton, he likes to tell us, too, right? He went to Wharton, but he bankrupted a casino. You got to be a real special kind of loser, to bankrupt a casino. But Speaking of special kinds of losers, I don't know. Anybody have a clue about these fucking moron Trumpanzees? Right? What the fuck? It's part of my French, but how don't I mean how much do you have to hate yourself to cheer when somebody says, "I picked your pocket, but I'm gonna give you back your wallet now"? Oh, thank you. Hey, you want more of my money? Yes, and Ed on the chat says he's meeting with Zelensky tomorrow. And I'm like, fuck you. Why is Zelensky meeting with him? Because he's hedging his bets. He's hoping that traitor Trump doesn't become president like the rest of humanity. But he's hedging his bets, I guess. But he, like, as if he has a clue about politics in general, about Ukraine or Russia or anything. I mean, he is a fucking surrender monkey. Remember these filthy Republicans talking about surrender monkeys and cutting and running? That's Republicans for you. Coward. But this is a guy who knows nothing about why we even have a United Nations. He was given by his generals and his cabinet, all the ones who are now endorsing Harris, who say he's unfit, the ones who are not the real maggots, the losers that he has surrounding him now, the ones who saw him in action, that saw he's a dumbass. His chief of staff. I mean, what's that? Yeah, I think it was the chief. Who was Rex Tillerson? Now that I'm Secretary of State, calling him a dumbass after they were discussing the history of Western civilization for the last 100 years, talking about Hitler. See, he knows a very cartoonish version of history where he's a real graduate of meme university, like the rest of these maggots. They don't know complexity or anything really. They see a meme and they think they wrote a dissertation on geopolitical whatever, and the way that traitor Trump talks about Ukraine is absolutely disgraceful, too. Saying that Zelensky's the greatest salesman because every time he comes to America, he leaves with billions of dollars, billions and billions and billions. And these losers who go to see him at his Nuremberg rallies, they all boo. They boo Zelensky and cheer Putin. But this is a long-standing Republican trait. They're disgraceful. Back when Obama was president, they asked Republicans at the time who they thought was a better president, Putin or Obama. And of course, they all said the majority, not all, but the majority of these filthy traitors said Putin because they're cartoonish, they're immature, and like I always say, it takes a level of maturity to function in a free democratic society, especially one that's a nation of immigrants, a complex nation where you have to compromise, and the Republican, I think about the 20th century, which was known as the American century, right? Where we built the greatest middle class thanks to government policy. The New Deal created the middle class from the ground up. And when the troops came home from World War II, the Republicans thought, great, cheap labor. But the Democrats passed the GI Bill and educated an entire generation, which in turn, every dollar spent in the GI Bill, I think it was returned $6 in tax revenue. That's what you do when you invest in your people. And we had so much left over. We even went to the moon, you know? And what all of that would not have happened if not for forward-thinking, progressive thinking Americans who were trying to promote the general welfare over the welfare of a bunch of goddamn parasites who sit at the top and they don't give a shit about anybody else but themselves. And that's who Trader Trump has surrounding him. You know, he's the biggest parasite, like Jabba the Hutt, but the rest of them, like Elon Musk, I mean, this is who he's going to put in his cabinet. He wants to put Elon Musk as some kind of secretary of fucking, of fucking shit up? Secretary of owning the libs? Is that it? And that in itself, as we talk about on the show, I wish, you know, sometimes, I don't know if you've noticed this, that the corporate media pundits, we say things on this show and eventually it gets into the mainstream, but we are definitely ahead of the game here. We always have been. I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about Robin Kincaid, Mike Malloy. Sooner or later they catch up, the corporate media. But I just hope that somebody who is, you know, a producer or whatever on one of these shows listens to this show and can pass it on. That when, because they always talk about how Republicans they're motivated by owning the libs. Well, that in itself, that should be pointed out, that if that's your motivation, you're not a patriot. You're motivated by upsetting your fellow Americans. That's how you get off. That's what you want to do with your time. Make your fellow citizen trigger them. And that's all they do. We've seen it. You know, their merchandise with Trader Trump with his two middle fingers up. They think this is normal behavior. But that's why we got to point it out. They're traitors. They're not fit. And if you're an undecided voter, you're going to pick, I mean, some people will pick that. They will choose that because they're just as ugly as the con man on the inside, you know, in and out. They find comfort in a con man who lets them be as stupid. You know, he's not challenging them to be a better person. So, and that being a better person, you know, making the mistakes, owning your mistakes, whatever, learning, living and learning, educating yourself, being aware, informed, learning about others, being, you know, just expanding your entire worldview, your horizons, all of that stuff takes a level of maturity. And being able to live with others who aren't like you, or, you know, and not be upset by that is, you know, something that these Republicans, they don't possess that ability. And that's why Republicans, Trader Trump and all that you will never hear a Republican challenge their constituents or the people who vote for them, whatever, the people who support them, to be good people, to be decent people to others. They challenge them to be domestic terrorists. That's all they do. They give them permission to be stupid and ignorant and horrible. You know what I mean? It's because they don't, it's like the whole thing about DEI. Learning, they don't want anybody to be upset. They don't, I mean, they're such fucking snowflakes. Learning about history and reality, rectifying or you know, having that truth and reconciliation conversation, owning our actual history. That's too triggering to them. They want to live in the cartoonish world that was constructed out of like a child's, just a children's history book. Nothing. It's not real.